What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here, and today we're going to be comparing the Nike ZOOMX VAPORFLY NEXT Percent to the New Balance FUELCELL TC. So in one hand we have what is deemed to be the world's best marathon racing shoe, although the Alphafly might now give it a run for its money. And in the other hand we have an exciting new innovation from New Balance, the training companion to the upcoming RC. Today I want to be going through with you guys the similarities, differences and how these things can work together to produce the perfect training partnership. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and without further ado we'll start with the TC. We'll start off with the TC just very quickly before we dive into the pros and the cons and the comparisons. If you're looking for a full technical specification on each of these shoes, make sure you head back onto the channel and search up the first impressions videos. We've got all of that covered here. Today I just want to go through, as I said, the pros and the cons of the shoe, but I will give you a quick overview of each of them so you can see how they stack and weigh up against each other. Now, as I said, this is the New Balance FUELCELL TC, which stands for Training and Competition. It is the sibling to the upcoming RC. Well, I say upcoming at the point when I am recording this video. The RC is going to be racing and competition. I've got to be honest with you, there's a lot of marketing involved and a bit of marketing hype when it comes to having a training shoe for your racing shoe, but I buy it, I like it, I love that concept that you can use something similar to what you're going to be racing in, so your body gets used to it, your feet gets used to it, your gait cycle is very similar, so when you come to slip on race day, it's like you're putting on something very familiar. It's just a bit lighter, a bit more streamlined, and hopefully a little bit better. Time will tell. A little bit similar to what we've got going on with the Endorphin Pro, with the upcoming Endorphin Speed, and of course the Alphafly Next Percent and then the Alphafly Next Percent Tempo, training partners to each of those shoes. So as you can imagine, with it being a training partner, it is going to be a little bit heavier. It's going to have a little bit more to it as a shoe, but as I said at the end, when we compare it, I kind of want to talk about how these two can work in conjunction with each other to bring out the perfect partnership. This is a 30mm, 20mm stack height, 10mm heel to toe drop, 321 grams, or I think it was 11.4 or 5 ounces in my size, which is a UK 13.5, and it is indeed true to size. Very quickly, suede upper here, well not upper, suede tip that goes all the way around here, that's the black material here. This is engineered mesh upper, single piece all the way round, FUELCELL midsole, rubber outsole here, as you can see, that covers it, and a couple of smaller white strips here. That's basically, in a nutshell, the shoe in itself. The pros of this shoe, this shoe, as I said in my first impressions video, had my name written all over it. I am a long run warrior. I love my long runs, and this thing was marketed to us from New Balance as that longer day shoe, the shoe that you can go out there, take out for good tempo runs, good miles, soak up those long runs, get those marathon workouts done and dusted in these shoes so that when you're ready for race day you can put on the RC. And that's exactly how I've been using it. 150, I think it is, miles I've got in this shoe now, and I solely reserve it for the purpose of tempo runs and long run workouts. It has a full length carbon plate in there, which again gets you used to the feeling that you're going to have in the upcoming RC, or if you run in the Next Percent itself, or any other carbon plate shoe for that matter. The pros of it are the FUELCELL midsole is phenomenal. It keeps my feet feeling fresh. A lot of you guys said when you review the Next Percent, you'll be surprised at how good your feet feel at the end of a run. Your legs, your body just doesn't feel beat up. I can say the same thing about this thing. It is absolutely brilliant. It soaks up the miles. It feels great. The cushioning is good. And listen, being honest and being a bit lazy, sometimes a bit of heel striking happens. I'm a midfoot striker. If I'm going downhill towards the end of a run, I might lean back a bit on my heels, take a breather. The FUELCELL padding here at the back is just, it soaks it all up. It's kind of like it allows you to be a bit lazy and sloppy, which isn't a good thing. We should be promoting good form, but I'm just saying when things get tough, the cushioning is there to support us. But on the whole, if you're a mid-foot to forefoot striker, which I am, it is absolutely phenomenal. You feel the carbon plate more in this shoe. It's not firm, it's not nothing uncomfortable, but I personally feel the push off in this shoe a lot. Negatives, drawbacks of the shoe. A bit of a lockdown issue with the tongue and the lacing. The lacing isn't the best on this shoe. The tongue was slipping a bit. I now have refined it so you probably won't be able to see it, but I've laced some of the laces through the loops on the tongue. A lot of you guys sent me photos of that, so thank you very much. That's helped a lot. And it does and can feel a little bit unstable in and around the heel area when you are running, especially if you're doing tight corners. There's a lot of this midsole, as I said, which does help if you're getting a bit slack, a bit lazy towards the end of your run and heel striking. But as I said, I only find that going downhill. But if you do end up doing lots of tight turns, you need to have a big turning circle for this shoe. Me and Matt were talking about it the other day. It's the one thing we both agreed on. You need a big turning circle for this shoe. It's kind of it's a shoe that New Balance have developed and basically just finished it but not put the cherry on the cake. And I'm hoping to goodness that RC will be the cherry on the cake. Moving on to the next percent, again I went true to size in this shoe, 246 grams or 8.7 ounces, I have it written down, 8.7 ounces, so much lighter, and that's to be expected. It's a racing shoe, it's not a training shoe. It's an 8mm heel to toe drop. I don't know the stack height in my size, but it's blooming close to 40mm, if not more than 40, because of course as the sizes go up, so the midsole stack height goes up as well. As a lot of you guys know, there is a 40mm ruling on stack height in racing shoes these days, but that is based on, I think it's a size 8 or a size 9 men's. As the sizes go up, it is allowed to go higher, so I suspect this is higher than 40mm. Anyway, in terms of the pros and the cons of this shoe, so obviously a quick overview. It is a vapor weave upper all the way around, super light, super, just you see right through it. An off-center lacing system which works really, really well for me. I found the lockdown to be brilliant. I know a lot of you guys struggled with the lockdown and said you can get it, but it takes time to get. I've got to be honest with you, my foot filled the shoe. I have a wide foot. It filled it perfectly. The tongue worked perfectly. The lockdown was absolutely great. We've got a little bit of overlay plastic here in and around the lacing area, just so that we have a bit more structure. In the heel, as you can see, we have this blue padding, Valerian blue colorway this is, and that's about it for structure in the shoe. It's a little bit more firmer in the heel counter. We've got a bit of reinforcement in and around here, but it's so minimal, it's ridiculous, and absolutely nothing else in the shoe. It is what you would want to be in a racing shoe. Full length carbon fiber plate, ZOOMX midsole, the carbon plate running from front to back, and then we have a rubber outsole on this top here, and the rest is exposed ZOOMX midsole. The pros and the cons of this shoe. I'll start with the pros. Wow, it is a brilliant, brilliant shoe. I took this thing out on a 7-mile tempo run for the first impressions. I wasn't enamored with it. And a lot of you guys were like, just give it time, get it out on a long run, you'll feel the benefits. And the following week, I actually took it up to the track to do a bit of a shoe off with the Nova Blast, did some 1K reps in it. It came to life. It was absolutely phenomenal. We were doing 1K reps in paces that I could only ever dream of. And then of course we took it out for the 20-mile long run. And wow, it was just absolutely brilliant. I got to the end of the run and I felt as fresh as a daisy. So in terms of the pros, if you have a wider foot, not a super wide foot, but if you have a wider foot, I can personally get a really good lockdown feeling in the shoe. I can imagine if you have a narrower foot, you can be swimming a little bit in the toe box. A lot of you have commented saying there's a lot of extra material up and around here. I don't have that when my foot's in it. It is smooth as butter. Lacing, absolutely perfect. This shoe for me, actually this year, is the best shoe I've had in the lockdown feeling out of any other shoe. The lockdown I get on this thing is absolutely phenomenal. And the ZOOMX midsole, ZOOMX is phenomenal. If I'd have done my top 5 midsoles video after I tried this, this would certainly be in it. Would it be top? I'm not 100% sure, but it would certainly be top 3. I can guarantee you that. And the carbon fiber plate in this thing, for me, compared to the TC, is a lot more subtle. I feel a lot more of the foam, it's a lot softer, a lot squishier. And although the TC has the fuel cell midsole, which is very, very soft, it's not as soft as this. This is just like a trampoline. It's absolutely insane. The cons to this shoe, I was a little bit disappointed in my first impressions. I was a little bit kind of like, oh. So there's obviously a breaking in period that I found with this shoe, which a lot of people didn't tell me. So I'm telling you, if you're thinking of investing it, don't be put off by your first run. Give it a couple of runs. You should start to feel it come to life. And to be perfectly honest with you, other than that, I have no cons for this shoe. So on to my final comparison of these two shoes. Of course, we have the training version and the racing version. I know they're not the same brand, but if you look at it that way, that's how I'm looking at it. So if you're kind of marathon training, if you're still plowing on with the longer distance repetitions, if you're still enjoying the long runs like I do, and you've got this thing in your closet ready for race day, then this is going to be an absolutely perfect companion whilst the RC is not out, in my opinion. Midsoles are relatively similar in terms of the soft cushionness, although the plate, I feel, this is personal opinion, is slightly more aggressive in this shoe. They do feel very similar swapping to and from, and I would love to do a shoe off between these two shoes just to see how good a shoe this thing is compared, matching it up to something a little bit more lightweight like this. When you go from this shoe to this shoe right now, you notice the weight difference massively, because this is obviously a heck of a lot bigger and a heck of a lot more clunkier in that aspect. And as I said, with the turning circle in this thing, it is a little bit wide. But when you get this thing on, you suddenly feel like you're putting on a far more streamlined version, a far more better racing version than this. So you'd be pushing the pace in this in your long runs. You're going to be pushing the reps, the tempo, whatever you want to call it, and then suddenly you slip this thing on and suddenly it's like absolute magic. And that is the idea of these training companions to the racing companions. As I said, although we don't have at this moment in time any training and racing companions, soon we'll have the Saucony Endorphin Speed, soon we'll have the RC, soon we'll have the Alpha Fly and the Tempo. Right now, if you're looking for something to go together, these two shoes are absolutely ideal. So there we go, those are my overall thoughts on the Nike ZOOMX VAPORFLY NEXT % and the New Balance FUELCELL TC. Perfect training companions right now, whilst we don't have any specific brand training companions to match up against. Both of them, brilliant shoes, both of them I'm absolutely loving, and for me as a long run warrior, as I said, putting the miles into the TC is feeling great, and I can assure you that when I slip that next % on ready for race day, it's going to feel home from home running between the two shoes. So let me know in the comments below if you've run in either of these two shoes, what your thoughts are, if you like both of them, and if you agree with me or disagree with me. I would love to get chatting to you down there. So that's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Until then.